Hi, class. Welcome to our lecture for section 6.6. I know that there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and this is very much not what anyone was expecting to happen. But nevertheless, we're going to do everything in our power to continue seamlessly and to provide you with the best quality service that we can. Okay? So today we're going to talk about curve fitting. And the first thing we want to do is we want to talk about the vertex form of a quadratic. So on the screen, you see the vertex form for a quadratic equation. And you'll notice that it has an a value, and then the coordinates of the vertex are right here. Please note, we talked about this before, that it is x minus the x coordinate. Okay, and if it's x minus the x coordinate, then that means that the x coordinate for the vertex is going to be positive. Okay? So let's take a look at this example right here. And I have a whiteboard here that we're going to use. So let me write in this equation. Let's see if we can do this here. Let me move this up here. Negative 2 times x minus 3 quantity squared plus 4. So f of x this is going to take me a little bit getting used to, is negative 2 x minus 3 quantity squared plus 4. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. And they want me to determine the vertex of the function. Okay? So right off the bat, we should recognize that this function is going to look like this. Okay, why? Because there's a negative 2 in front of the equation. Remember, the negative 2 is the a in ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so this is a right here. And you'll notice that there it says x minus 3. So that means the coordinates of the vertex will be 3, 4. And that will be the coordinates of our vertex. Okay? So let's take a look at the next example. Find an equation given 2 points. Okay? So we know the vertex of the quadratic equation, and we know one additional point. So let's use that to find the equation. Find the equation of the parabola with a vertex of negative 4, 5 that passes through 0, 1. So let me erase all of this information here. There we go. And go back to pen mode. And let me write down the vertex here. Come down here. So we have negative 4, 5. That's my vertex. And my point is 0, 1. So let me move this up now. There we go. And we know that our equation is going to be of the form f of x equal to a times x minus h quantity squared plus k. And my notation is a little bit different, but it's exactly the same idea. Here, h, k is the vertex. So this is the vertex. Okay? So now I can plug these points in and let's see what we get. So based on what they give me, I know that f of x is going to equal to a, and then I get x minus a negative 4, quantity squared, plus 5. And this becomes a times x plus 4, quantity squared, plus 5. Okay? So I'm almost there. I'm not quite done yet. I have one more piece of information to find, and that is I need to find out what a is. But I have a point here, 0, 1, to do that. So I know that f of x equals 1 when x equals 0. So I'm going to solve this equation that you see right here. Okay? So let me move this up just a hair. And now let's continue. So 1 equals to a times 4 squared plus 5. So therefore 1 equals to a times 16 plus 5. So I'm going to move this 5 to the left side. So that gives me negative 4 equals a times 16. And then finally, let me write it over here. Negative 4 over 16 equals negative 1 over 4 equals a. So my final equation is going to be f of x equals to minus 1/4 times x plus 4 quantity squared plus 5. Okay? And this is going to be a parabola. It's going to have a vertex at negative 4, 5. And because this number is negative, it's going to look something like this. Okay? It's going to open down. Let's take a look at the next one. Finding an equation given 3 points. If we know any 3 points on a quadratic function, we can determine its equation. So find a formula for the quadratic function who has a graph with the y-intercept at y equals 4 and the zeros at x equals 2 and x equals 6. Okay? So now on this one, so let me move my thing back up here. And let's erase all this, shall we? I think that would be much easier. Maybe not. I have to be very meticulous here when I erase. Okay. So they tell me that the y-intercept is at y equals 4 and the zeros are 2 and 6. So what do I know? Well, I know, first of all, let me click on the pen again here. I know that one of my points is going to be 2, 0. And another one of my points is going to be 6, 0. And a third point is going to be 0, 4. Okay, these are the 3 points they gave me. Okay? I can use these 2 points to find the equation. Okay? In other words, what I'm telling you is that x minus 2 times x plus minus 6, is going to equal this function, and I have to add an a value here, by the way, okay, because I don't know what the a is. This is going to equal to my unknown function, okay? And now I can use this point right here to find out what a is, okay? So let's do that. So a is equal to 0 minus 2, or a times 0 minus 2, I'm sorry. And then multiply that by 0 minus 6, and that's going to equal to 4. Okay? When x is 0, f of x is 4. That's what this number means right here. This coordinate means right here. Okay? So therefore, we get a times negative 2 times negative 6 equals 4. So a times 12 equals 4. So therefore, a is equal to 1/3. So the equation is going to be f of x equals to 1/3 x minus 2 times x minus 6. And now finally, let's FOIL this out. So we get 1/3, and let's FOIL this out. X times x is x squared minus 2x minus 6x plus 12. So finally, we get 1/3 x squared. And then if we take negative 2 and negative 6, that makes negative 8. So negative 8/3 x plus 4. Okay? I just multiplied 1/3 through everything here and combined 2x and 6x to get 8x. So this is the final answer. Whoops, I kind of drew over that. I apologize. Let me see if I can erase that line there. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay. Let's take a look at another one. So here's an application problem. The following data show the number of people of certain ages who were victims of homicide in a large city in 1 year. So they give us ages and they give us the number. Determine the quadratic equation that will model this data. So this is a great problem, okay? And I'm going to basically solve this exactly the same way as my previous problem. But the difference is that now, okay, I'm not given nice friendly points like the x-intercept or the y-intercept, but it doesn't matter. Okay, I can still work it exactly the same way. So while I'm erasing this, I'll let you kind of think about that really quick. Here we go. And let me go ahead and get rid of this because I have a feeling this is going to be a rather involved problem. There we go. Okay. And we're ready to go. Okay, so let me move the table. Let me resize the table just a little bit here so that I can put the table on the screen and the whiteboard. Okay, because I'm going to need it for a little bit here. Okay, so are we ready? So the first thing we know is that my function f of x is going to equal to a times x squared plus b times x plus c. Okay? And if I look at my numbers, okay, I have 10 and 12, 20 and 62, 30 and 72, and then 40 and 40. Okay? So I know that this is going to look something like this. Okay? It looks like it's 10 and 12, 20 and 62, 30 and 72, and then 40 and 40. So it's actually going up and then it comes right back down. Okay? And I know that these are points on my curve, okay, but obviously I don't know any intercepts. I don't know any information about exactly where these points are, okay? So my only choice here is to plug in these points and see what kind of equations I get. So if I plug in 10, that's going to give me 12 is equal to a times 10 squared, which is 100, plus b times 10, plus C. If I plug in 20, that's going to give me 62 is equal to A times 400 plus B times 20 plus C. And if I plug in 30, okay, 30 is going to give me 72 equals A times 30 squared is 900 plus B times 30 plus C. Okay? And so now, okay, probably the only way to really solve this is to use some kind of, calculator technology, okay, where you have a system of 3 equations and 3 unknowns, okay? So what we can do here is we can kind of do it kind of brute force, okay? That's probably going to be the best way to do it, since I have no way to show you the moves on the calculator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first equation and I'm going to solve it for C. And I'm going to take the second equation and do the same thing. Okay? And now I'm going to set these 2 equations equal to each other. And when I do that, I get this. Okay? So now I have an equation, okay, that is A and B only, okay? So now let's rewrite this, okay, so that everything is combined. So I'm going to move everything to this side. So that's going to give me minus 50 plus 300A plus 30B equals 0. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing with this third equation here. So let me rewrite the third equation in terms of C. So that's going to be 72 minus 900A minus 30B equals C. That's a terrible C. There's a C. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these 2, the first one and the third one, equal to each other. And I'm going to get another equation with just A and B. Okay? So let me do that right down here. So I know that I get 12 minus 100A minus 10B equals C, which is also going to be equal to 72 minus 900A minus 30B. Okay? So now I can set these 2 equal to, and now move everything to this side. So 60, and let me look up here. Did I make a mistake up here? No, I didn't. Okay. Negative 60. And then if I bring 900 over here, that's going to be 800A. And if I bring the 30 over here, that's going to be 20B. Okay? So now I have 2 equations that are just A and B. You see that? This one and this one. So now what I can do is I can solve these 2 equations. So let me write the 2 equations right here so you can see them. So that way it's very clear. So the first one is going to be, let me do it right here, 800A plus 20B b, and I'm going to move the 60 to the other side. This is equal to 0, by the way. So I'm going to move the 60 to the other side. This is my first equation right here. The second equation is right up here. 300a plus 30b equals 50. So I'm going to write 300a plus 30b equals 50. Okay? So again, let me recap what I did. Okay? I took 3 of the points and I plugged in those 3 points into this model equation here. And I got these 3 relationships. Okay? 10, 20, 30. Okay? Hold on. Let me go back to the right slide. There we go. 10, 20, 30. Okay? And I know that 10 squared is 100, 20 squared is 400, 30 squared is 900. Okay? So then I solved the first 2 equations for C, set them equal to each other, and I got this equation here. Then I solved the first and I solved for C on the third equation, set the first and third one together, and solved, and I got this equation here. So now I'm down to these 2 equations that you see right here. Okay? So now I need to solve for 1 in terms of, I need to solve each of these in terms of B. Let's just do it in terms of B. That'd be the easiest thing to do. Set them equal to each other, and then that's going to give me an answer for A. Okay? So for this one here, if I solve for B, that's going to be 800A minus 60 equals negative 20B. So I move the 60 to the right, to the left, the 20B to the right, and then here I get 300A minus 50 equals negative 30B. Okay? So now for this first one, I'm going to divide by 20 everywhere. So 800 divided by 20 is 40. So let me, this is this one here, okay? And then negative 20, and this is going to be negative 40, okay? Because 800 divided by negative 20, I'm going to divide everywhere. So let me just write it out so that way it's very clear. So 800A minus 60 equals negative 20B, and I'm going to divide by negative 20 everywhere. Okay? So therefore, I get negative 40A plus 3 equals B. Okay? And then up here, let's do this one over here. So I have 300A minus 50 equals negative 30B. And I'm going to divide everything you see here by negative 30. So that's going to give me negative 10A plus 5/3 equals B. And now set these 2 equal to each other. So that gives me negative 40A plus 3 equals negative 10A plus 5/3. So finally, let's move this down here just a little bit more. So finally, let me see if I can continue right here. If I move the 40A to the left side, that gives me, to the right side, excuse me, that gives me 30A. 40 minus 10 is 30. And then move the 5/3 over here. So that's going to be 3 minus 5/3. Okay. But I can write 3 as 9/3, right? So this becomes 9/3 minus 5/3, which is 4/3, equals 30A. So therefore, finally, okay, A is going to equal to 4 over 90. So this is the equation, or this is the result for A, okay? Now, plug this in to one of these equations and find B, okay? So let me go back to the top, And let me erase a little bit so I can get some more room. And I can use any of these equations, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to make sure not to erase them all, okay, because I need some of these equations, right? Okay, that's enough. So I know, so what I've done is I've solved for A. I've determined that A is just going to be 4 over 90, okay? So my A is equal to 4 over 90, okay? And again, remember my equation is of the form f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? And now, okay, if I look down through here, okay, here's an equation right here with a and b, okay? So I can just use this one. So I know that minus 50, okay, plus 300 times a is 4 over 90, plus 30b equals 0. So now solve for b. So if I do 300 divided by 90, what's 300 divided by 90? That gives me 3 1/3, okay? So that's going to give me 30 over 9. Okay, so let me write this in closed form. So 30 over 9, and actually let me just do it this way. 300, and I got to multiply by 4, right? 300 times 4 divided by 90, and that gives me 13 1/3, okay? So in other words, I get what was it, 1200 over 90, or 120 over 9. So let me write this like this. Minus, no, I don't want to write here. I want to write here. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Minus 50. And this gives me 1200 over 90, right? 300 times 4 is 1200 over 90, plus 30b equals 0. So this becomes minus 50 plus 120 over 9 plus 30b equals 0. And then I can write 50 as minus 450 over 9 plus 120 over 9 plus 30b equals 0. So if I do this here, that gives me 450 minus 120. What's 450 minus 120? Whoops. 330 over 9. So this gives me minus 330 over 9 plus 30b equals 0. And I no longer need this equation here, so let me erase all this. And let me continue right over here. Continue right up here. So negative 330 over 9 equals minus 30b. I just moved the 30b to the right side. So finally, negative 330 over 9 divided by negative 30 equals b. So this becomes 33, or 330, over 2700, or excuse me, 270. So b is 33 over 27, which is just going to be 11 over 9. So there's my b right there, okay? So b, let me write b right here. b is 11 over 9. Okay? So now finally, let's find C. I have an equation for C right here. So let me erase all of this information here, and I'm going to use that equation to find C. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, so let me rewrite this equation here. It looks kind of messed up here. This should be gone, right? Okay. So it's actually this, right? So now, okay, let me use this equation here. So 72 minus 900, and then we know A. Remember, A is just, what is A up here? 4 over 90, right? So 4 divided by 90. And then, okay, minus B, okay? And remember that B, okay, is just going to be 11 over 9. So this is going to be 30 times 11 over 9. And all of that is going to equal to C, right? And again, if you don't remember from the original problem, okay, at point C, f of x is 72 and x is 30, okay? So going back to the original, okay, that means that 72 equals A times 30 squared, okay, which is 900, plus B times 30 plus C. So I'm using this and I'm rewriting it in terms of C, and then I know what B and A and B are, and I can plug those in and I can get this result, okay? So now finally, so let me erase this. We don't need that. I was just kind of giving you a recap here. So let me erase this and let's actually solve for C. Okay? So 72, 900 minus 90 is 10 times 4. Minus, okay? And then 30 over 9 is the same as 10 over 3 times 11. And that equals C. That's a terrible C. There it is. Okay? So this becomes 72 minus 40. And then minus 110 over 3. So this becomes 32 minus 110 over 3. And I can write 32 as 96 over 3 minus 110 over 3. And that's going to give me, what is it? Minus 14 over 3. Okay? So the y is going to be, the C is going to be minus 14 over 3. Okay? And that should do it. Okay? So I hope that helps. And I'm going to kind of cut this one short because this is the first one and I want to make sure it works fine. And if you have any problems or questions, please let me know. Thank you.